Good morning.
Hi, good morning or good afternoon.
Yeah, I
It's
guess it
just
is
now
afternoon.
afternoon.
Yeah. How y'all doing?
I'm doing great. How are you, Jim?
Good, thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you. Thanks
nice.
for these programs.
Yeah, it's nice to see everybody.
Yeah, for sure.
Currently at 9.
All right, so we're still adding some folks in. We got 9 folks, so we'll give it a few more minutes and then we'll begin.
With the park closed, I go over to Lake Sherwood to do a little birding on the north side this morning. So that's kind of fun.
There's a fire?
No,
Birding.
Lake
Oh,
Sherwood.
birding.
Oh.
Birding,
I was
yeah.
like, burning. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Um,
there's always Canada geese there and mallards, but there's other cormorants and grebes sometimes. So
yeah.
it's fun.
I heard Orange County, they shut down all the beaches.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because people were out there in droves.
Yeah. So hopefully, who knows?
Yeah.
I know Santa Barbara County, everything's open as far as beaches go. I think where I live right here in Oxnard and Port Hueneme, the beaches are closed on the weekends, but they're open during the weekdays. So that's nice to go out and
Yeah.
walk.
As long as people aren't like overcrowding.
Yeah, but I also saw that law enforcement weren't really enforcing because they have these huge signs on the Hueneme beach saying that, no lawn chairs or beach chairs are allowed. But there's definitely some folks out there with their beach
Well,
chairs.
yeah, I think that's the policy that was put in place. I don't remember if it was if it was the governor or one of the mayors of like the big cities or something said like, yeah, there's these policies you can't be doing this, but we're not going to be enforcing it. Like we're not going to be putting fines. Like, but then there's nothing to stop people besides just their good sense not to do it.
Yeah.
And
So I saw a lot of folks out there, which was interesting.
yeah.
All right. Lei, we're still waiting on folks.
So far we're pretty good. It's 12:03 and there is in total 11 of us.
Perfect. Numbers went up. All right. Lei, whenever you're ready, we can start.
All right. So we're going to start off. Welcome to our Sunday Zoom session. We're going to be discussing Platform Party. So it's a very interesting, intuitive name, but we're just going to be going over the Parks Outdoor Calendar and EventBrite. So just how to generally navigate that by itself. I know like right now we're not really hosting events, but this is more to for people in the future later on, if you're either at the visitor center or Satwiwa and like you're trying to figure out where people are, like visitors are asking, where can I find these events posted? Where can I find what you guys are doing next? Stuff like that. So I'm going to share my screen and we are going to do our little consent thing. So I have my screen shared right now. And every video, every Zoom session, we're going to be doing this just as a general disclosure. But as a visible disclosure, we'd like to inform any participants that any and all of the Zoom series is and will be recorded. The purpose of this is to provide Zoom series to those who participated or missed out on the session. It is also provided the information for participants to refer back to. In addition to the visible disclosure, the statement will be orally stated at the beginning of each Zoom series, like I am now. I'm going to stop sharing. And this one's going to be fairly short. It's not going to be too long. We're just going to be going over a few basics and answering a few questions. And we're going to start it off with Razsa. Oh, I'm Lei. I am the community volunteer ambassador for the park. What that means is anything community outreach or volunteerism related, that's my sector. And yeah.
Cool. Thank you, Lei. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Razsa, and I've been with the Santa Monica Mountains since 2008. I worked in interpretation, education, and now I'm in part of the volunteer team. And something I've learned working at the visitor center, and especially I've always been a part of the outdoors, even when it was a paper book and there was like 40 pages to it. So now the Outdoors Calendar is digital. And the biggest reason for that was to decrease paper waste. We would use a lot of time editing the little magazine 3 months in advance, programming with other agencies, different programs, and make sure that we had their information up to date. So it's a really long process. And it was a lot of money just to get the little booklet out. It was a favorite for visitors. However, just the paper waste was so massive. So we wanted to lead by example, and so now we created it digitally. However, you could still print it out. So I'm going to show you those little tips and tricks on how to navigate outdoors online. And so I'm going to share my screen. So there's two ways you can find it. You can find it obviously through Google search. Let's see, let me share it through real quick. And right there. You gotta love Zoom. So everybody could see where I'm at, right? So I usually just type in samofund.org, because if you just, see, mine already recognizes it, but if you just write Outdoors Calendar, you're gonna get some random REI website and other areas or other organizations that have the same title as Outdoors. And then you'll see it right here, Samo Fund, Santa Monica Mountains, and the Outdoors Calendar here. So that's one way you could tell folks how to navigate to it from their cell phone or their tablet or their home. And my thing is a little slow now because I'm sharing the screen. So just give me some time. And another way you could go to it is if you just go straight to the website, which would just be samofund.org. And the way you would navigate it from there is through their tab right here, Outdoors Event Guide. And so it would be the Outdoors Digital. However, you can sign up for the newsletter. And I believe the newsletter is sent out monthly with highlights of some programs, not all. So it's very important that you see it. So this is the events. And the one that I want is not this one. Give me a second. There it goes. Now it's loading. So what you'll see here is it's going to be a little modge podge of different dates. And now because we're in the stay-at-home closure, we canceled a lot of our events. Usually they'll be in different colors. They'll be laid out differently. And one thing to note and remind people, especially if you're working out in the field and promoting programs, or you're working at the visitor center or SATWEWA and you're telling folks how to navigate outdoors, is to let them know that once they're at this page of the events, that some of the programs may not be in order of the date. So like right here at the bottom, you could already see May 14th came after May 20th. And for some reason, the software that we use, it just happens to navigate that way. We've tried fixing it and troubleshooting it, and for whatever reason, that it mumbles, it jumbles like that. So there's no way of fixing it. Once they click onto an actual activity, they'll be able to see the entire information. So not only just the photo, they could see the organization, contact information, email if they have it, or the website if they have it. And this is really good to note as well, is this right here where it says tags. So some agencies, not all of them, will actually tag their event with particular wording. So, you know, Facebook, family, kid activities, live. You could write nature, or if it's about acorns, you could write acorns. Those tags, you could actually navigate on Facebook and just look for certain tag names that are in your interest. I'll show you guys how to do that too. So what's neat about this is, oh no, it doesn't do it anymore. Let's see. So I'll tell you who's sponsoring the event, which is National Park Service. Sometimes it's California State Parks. Sometimes it's the Sierra Club. It lets you know the audience, if it's anyone, or if there's certain typical audience that they're looking for. It'll let you know the difficulty. So if it's easy, moderate, or strenuous, it'll let the visitor know. Most of our events are free. However, partner agencies may have a donation fee attached to it. So those are good things to look at. Sometimes the cost isn't for the program itself, but state parks, it might be like the parking fee. So those are good things to look at as well and let people know as well. This is, so they add the links here. I've seen some folks add maps to give folks a more in-depth and detailed way of how to get there. Look at Felipe's cheesy face there. So once you look at that, you can see all that. The cool thing about this is I get a lot of requests when working at SATWEWA or the visitor centers. Why don't we have flyers? How come we don't print flyers for the visitors? Why don't we have that resource available for them? Again, we're trying to remove the paper waste from our daily lives. So we really want to encourage folks to use their digital, their phones or their tablets or the website. However, if they really want that print, they could actually print from home. So it's good to navigate where it says poster board. If you bring that down, it gives you all these really cool options to look at the outdoors. So I'll start off with stream. So poster board is the default, is what we're looking at already. So it's basically just giving you a quick insight, a photo, the title of the program, the location, and then some of the information will fit there, however, not all of the information. But if you go to stream, it will give you the same thing. It'll lay it out. And then remember, it's not going to do it by date in order, just because that's just how it functions. It's not going to be in order. So just let visitors remind them that the dates might be out of order, but just highlight, circle things of your interest. But you'll notice here, it gives you a quick read, but it won't tell you the entirety of the program. It'll have these little dots, meaning there's more to it. So you could click on the event and see it in its full detail. There's also weekly, which is more of like a calendar. And when we're in full mode without the stay-at-home order, this is actually color-coded. It'll have different agencies and different colors, and it'll just be a mosaic of different programs throughout the week. And again, you could click on any of those events. This one's more month if you want to see more far in advance. And again, because it looks kind of sad because it's kind of empty because of all the closure and the canceled events. But this will be colored, especially on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. There'll always be something going on through some type of agency or organization. And again, you could print this, you can make your own notes off of it. You could go by months, May, June, July, and navigate that way. So it's basically just playing with it and see what features you prefer. So it's basically all the preference on the visitor and how they want to read it. This one's my least favorite. It's basically going by time. But if there's multiple programs in one day, this might be a feature they might like the most because it could break it down what's going on during the day. A lot of these programs, you can encourage folks who have the Junior Ranger book at SATWEWA, if they want to do any of the tickets in the back to get their pins. This is where I usually send them to the outdoors so they could do some of those programs. The agenda is by far, in my personal opinion, the most detailed and probably the best to print out on paper. So you'll see it'll come out like this, kind of in segments. However, it has this really nice feature that says expand all. So right now it's just telling me the title of the program. It doesn't give me the details, the dots, but it gives me the date and the time. However, if I push expand all, it will give me everything on that page. So this is really great for parents, scout troops to go home, print, and they'll have everything that's on that website instead of clicking from link to link to link. So again, they're not going to be in order some of the times, but that's fine. Just let people know some of the dates might be flipped around. But as far as printing, it'll print on 8x11, and you'll have this in its entirety: the picture, the name of the program, the date, the information, and the links. So this is probably the main one that I would use for printing in the future. Another note to let folks know is some of these programs are not uploaded in the outdoors in advance. So sometimes things happen at the last minute and a ranger's like, hey, I want to do this program next week. And so if you are like me, I like to think ahead of time in my life. I may print this whole entire month of May on the first day of May. However, by the second week, there might be some events canceled or some events even added. So you really got to remind the visitor that to keep an eye on the outdoors on a weekly basis to see what's going on, because things will change. Things will either disappear, be canceled, or things might be added at the last minute. So these are just good things to keep, good practices to keep going on. Now, let me see, let me go back to poster board. And there's a way, if I could find it. I'll go to July, which is the next month. You can see as far as you could actually see as far as in advance to August, I think, or how whatever agency posts up what they got. But let's see. Let's say I actually click on the Birds of Santa Monica, which is our bird festival, which is August 1st. And I'll see these tags down here. That's interest, categories. So if I click on categories, it won't let me click on it. Oh, it won't do it anymore. Oh, okay, right here. Let's see. So when I go to agenda, it gives you these toolbars on the top. And you could actually tell Outdoors what you're interested in. So you're not seeing all the other stuff you may not be interested in. So let's say I'm only interested in programs about the Backbone Trail. So you can go to interests, go to Backbone Trail, and the Outdoors will only display events or programs that are tagged Backbone Trail. And if you leave that filter on, it'll stay on unless you unclick it. So you got to make sure you clear that out before you go into anything else. Sometimes visitors only want to travel so far, or they might have an interest on just a specific geography where they want to be. You know, most people like in the Newberry Park area or Oxnard, Camarillo, they might just want to just visit the western part of the Santa Monica Mountains. They might not be interested in the eastern part because of traffic or whatsoever that their preference is. You can let them know that they actually have full control of what they can look for on the Outdoors if it's tagged. And most of the time, locations, cost, and audience is always going to be included on the Outdoors. The only things that may change is whatever the tags may be. This is up to the agency whether they want to add those tags to the event. So sometimes they may not be included. So if somebody's, I've had this issue in the past, some things might be at Rancho Sierra Vista, but they're not tagged Satwewa. And when people just look for Satwewa, there might be a program there, but because it doesn't have that tag, it may not show up in this area. So they might have to use different tag words to find that. But for sure, no matter what, the interest will always be tagged, the area will always be tagged, the difficulty and the audience will always be tagged, and the venues will always be tagged. These are the things that agencies, when they post these programs, they have to include this information on it, otherwise it will not be posted. But like I said, the tag words are optional. So it really just depends on the agency and the individual that's uploading the information onto Outdoors. So like I said, you could navigate and just look for items that include beaches on the coast. And again, you get all these programs that is related or at or near beaches on the coast, and you could expand all, and then you just focus on those programs only. So it's really neat just to go through and play around with the settings and the filters and see what it has to offer and just become familiar with it. But this toolbar is really helpful, especially if you just have one area of concern that you're interested in. Is there any questions so far? Anybody? Nope. All right, you guys that was the 101 on how to navigate the Outdoors. A lot of the Outdoors programs will have links to EventBrite. So a lot of our programs require reservations or registrations for different reasons. And so Leigh's gonna take us into EventBrite and help us navigate through that.
Yes. All right, thank you. Actually, I'm gonna start off, I'm gonna share off my screen. So right now we're just looking at the outdoor calendar. So here's one example of, not all events will have this on the Outdoors, but for instance, if I click this event, if it says right here, event website, if I click that, that's when it'll actually go to the EventBrite page for it. So one way to navigate to EventBrite is, again, Google. I already have it preset for like, I usually always just type in Santa Monica Mountains Fund EventBrite page, and you're gonna realize it doesn't take you to the actual page. It'll take you to past events that they've hosted. So what I usually do is just click on whatever event was previous. That one was back in February, I think. I wait for that to load, and then here is where the actual event page is at, like the host. So it's going to be based off of the Santa Monica Mountains Fund. You can follow it, and then that's how you can get like email updates, anything like that. I usually just click that link right there. I'm going to let it load. And right here, it'll say the Santa Monica Mountains Fund's their mission, their strategy, their history, and then once you scroll down is where you'll see live events and past events. So for the purpose of a few different things, we have, I'm gonna show you what this one looks like. This is a monthly event I used to do. It's kind of not happening due to this whole pandemic thing. But once you click that, it opens up to here. Some EventBrite events that we host will actually be either multiple dates, singular dates, multiple dates, or one singular date but different times. So sometimes you'll see that, and usually I'll tell you either to select the date or select the time. So once you navigate to this page, this is what it'll generally look like. As a general disclaimer, every view will look different depending what you're looking at the EventBrite page from, whether that's your phone or your tablet. But as far as this laptop, this is what it looks like. You would usually see the title of the event here, who's hosted by, and if you want to follow them again. And then you'll have a general description of the activity. And for this one in particular, the location's off to the right. The description will usually be just a general description of the activity at hand. And then for this one in general, I attached a map of directions because it is kind of difficult to get there. And the biggest thing I want to emphasize when it comes to EventBrite is if you end up registering for an event and out of nowhere, you know, something happens, you can't make it anymore, please try your best to cancel. Like cancel your RSVP, the ticket that you reserved your spot for. Like usually these events will have a set limit. So for this one, it's usually I think up to 40 or 50. But say it's full and then someone's trying to get on and they can't because it's full, but say you couldn't make it. So that could free up a space for a person that could go. And for my best bet, it's great to just RSVP for things just so we can better adjust for safety precautions, materials, and equipment. But it just like gives us a better head count of how we can better prep for the success of a program or anything like that. So you would select a date. Let's just theoretically choose one, like June 6th. And then from here, so right now this event's set for 50. And then you could actually RSVP up to 10. So say you bring your whole family out, you can do it up to 10 times and that RSVP will be under your name. And then let's just say 1. All the RSVP tickets when it comes to EventBrite are all gonna be free. Unless SamoFund's hosting their own individual thing, then it'll say the cost. But if anything, all these tickets will always be just a RSVP ticket. You would hit, oh, my little docking thing is in the way. Register. Let that spin for a bit. And then from there, you just put your first name, last name, email, and you confirm your email again. It is completely up to you to uncheck this box. This is just EventBrite send you those emails saying, here's the events happening near your area. And a lot of people will send an email to either the volunteer email or SamoFund saying, hey, I want to opt out from the email list. And it's like, this is out of our control. You have to go into your email. And once you get one of those EventBrite emails that say like, here's some events happening nearby, usually at the end of that email chain, it'll say unsubscribe from this so that you don't get these constant notifications. Most of the time, if you do get an email about, like say this event was still happening, right? And you get an email saying, hey, we're inviting you to come out to this volunteer opportunity at Yerba Manza. Some of those emails are preset to send out, or it's somebody physically choosing attendance to invite you to the page to register. So sometimes you'll get the notification, sometimes you won't. It really depends who's hosting the event, if they choose to do so. Sometimes they just leave it up there and then kind of just see whoever stumbles upon the page, and then from there, that's where they can go from. Sometimes there'll also be tags on here. On this one, it only has these general tags, which are just like United States events, California events, Thousand Oaks, you know, or community or anything like that. The other one is when we go by based off of the event page right here. Right here is just a demo page. So this one right here is for the volunteer opportunity at Yerba Monza. That one's tagged at charity causes, but I feel like that always changes because the thing with EventBrite is it doesn't have as many tags as the outdoor does. So it kind of makes these clumps of categories in EventBrite, and it's never like too detailed. So right here, I just have a demo event. And then from there, it'll just show, this is what a really blanketed EventBrite looks like. Sometimes it won't even have a photo. Sometimes it'll just have a title, but it'll just look as simple as this. And then usually you'll just have like a short summary here. You'll have a more in-depth summary there, but most for sure that will always be there is the date and time in this area right here. And then you just register and it's the same process again. And that was fairly much it. There's not too much when it comes to EventBrite. It's just to make sure to cancel and just make sure to register. I've had a lot of people ask me, do I need to bring my physical printed EventBrite ticket? No, but I do have people bring them just cause they're like, oh, here, I'm like, for sure I signed up for this event, and that's totally fine. And I do also have like a few people that usually come out to these events, these EventBrite events for like community service or service learning credit. So they usually print out the EventBrite ticket and they have me or whoever's hosting the event sign it as proof of like attending the event. And that's pretty much it on EventBrite. Is there any questions? Very intuitive.
So this is Phil. I was playing with EventBrite on my other screen here while you were talking, and I just went, I just kind of Googled EventBrite, went to their page, and then searched for Santa Monica Mountains Fund.
In EventBrite, right?
Yes, in EventBrite, and
it will not pop up.
It gives me a bunch of events, but none of them relate to Santa Monica Mountains.
Yes, so that is
the
perfect thing. So I'm going to share my screen again, and I will show you right here. So one of the things, if I click right here at the top left, EventBrite, and I searched Santa Monica Mountains, National Recreation Area, just that, it's going to pull up all these random things. So one of the things to note is you can't find the SAMO Fund page through EventBrite, which is kind of, not gonna lie, it's kind of difficult. Like you can't search it from here. The best bet is usually going at just Google and then Santa Monica Mountains Fund EventBrite page. And it'll always, all of these Google searches are gonna be all past events. And that's the only way it's like linked. Unless you have, so right here, we're on the Yoga in the Mountains, which is a past event that has ended. And this is where you find the actual page for Santa Monica Mountains Fund. And you click that. And then the best way, in my opinion, is to just save or make this one of your, or bookmark it or favorite this as one of your favorite pages. But that's one of the downsides to EventBrite. You can't find just this and then all of the events listed.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
No problem. One of the EventBrite drawbacks.
Cool. So do we have any questions?
All right. If no further questions, I'm going to stop recording now.